Another comfortable day, but change is right around the corner. I'll show you when the summer heat and humidity return.
Animal shelter fined. The State Department of Agriculture disciplined the shelter in Harnett County over issues with euthanasia. WRAL investigates the allegations against the facility. Data center crackdown. State lawmakers are considering restricting how and where they are built across North Carolina. The vote expected today and the likely next steps for the bill. You're looking live right now at temperatures across the area in the 70s. We have another beautiful afternoon in our forecast. Temperatures are near normal and humidity is low. That's the secret sauce to the kind of weather that makes you want to spend time outside. We're glad that you're spending some time with us. Good afternoon. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Laura Levine. And for Chris Lovingood this noon, thanks for joining us. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is outside on the WRAL weather patio to let us know how long the pattern here will last, Elizabeth.
You know, it is going to continue to stay dry. Our humidity stays low for the next several days, but we are looking at the potential for temperatures to start to warm up. And you can see the WRAL gardens right here behind me. It looks beautiful there right now. It feels very comfortable. Our dew point is down at 40, which is even lower than what we saw even this morning at 45. The lower that number, the more comfortable it feels. And while our temperature climbs today, it feels like we've moved to Colorado or California. It just doesn't have that real summer feel. It's 78 degrees right now, and we're looking at 79 in Apex, 78 Durham, 76 in Garner. So mid to upper 70s as you're heading out the door right now at lunchtime. Our 24-hour temperature change, it is a little warmer than it was this time yesterday, and I would expect it to be at least 5 or 6 degrees warmer for our official afternoon high. We should climb on up into the mid 80s, but temperatures will drop pretty quickly because the air mass is so dry. So we're into the 60s by 10 p.m. and it will feel cool again for us tomorrow morning. I know a lot of people are looking forward to the Stanley Cup Final Game 2 tomorrow. Tailgating forecast. It is going to be warm with temperatures near 90 at 5 o'clock and then a gradual drop in temperatures. And they're still going to have all those outdoor festivities if you happen to be heading out to the game and another watch party. And we'll, of course, have more about that tomorrow pre-game. Temperatures will start to drop tomorrow to 8 o'clock game time, 82 degrees, but then in the 60s by the time the game is over. We set a record low this morning. I'll show you why we probably won't for tomorrow morning coming up.
Okay, Elizabeth, thank you. A Harnett County animal shelter is facing fines now from the state over improper euthanization practices for dozens of dogs. The shelter, located in Lillington, is facing fines for nearly $20,000 over violations between March and April. WRL investigates. Sean Gallagher is there. And Sean, we know that this is an issue that we've been covering for a while now.
Yeah, that's right, Laura. The state has seen disciplinary actions against animal shelters more than triple between 2024 and 2025. In this case, for this shelter in Harnett County, it is accused of using a form of euthanization that raises concerns about being an inhumane way of putting a dog to sleep. Now, the shelter says it's not performing euthanasias at this time while it retains staff. A sign on the door today says it's also no longer accepting strays or surrendered dogs. The state accuses the shelter of euthanizing 42 dogs through intracardiac injections. The state indicating that type of injection, quote, causes significant pain in an animal that is not unconscious and may be able to feel pain. But in a statement, the county says all animals that were euthanized at the animal shelter were sedated before the procedures took place. In a statement that the county said in part that every animal euthanized at our shelter was first placed under sedation and that the euthanasia method, intracardiac, used by our animal shelter is an approved allowable procedure under the state's guideline, saying this is about a lack of documentation, not inhumane treatment. But the state's violations say there is no documentation of that in at least 24 of the 42 cases. The violations also include that the shelter did not scan for a microchip in 30 of the 42 dogs that it euthanized. Now, I have reached out to the Harnett County Board of Commissioners to see if they have any comment about what was going on here and the funding involved, and I'm awaiting their response. Coming up this evening, we'll also talk to advocates about what they want to see changed here so that this type of violation doesn't happen in the future. But for now in Harnett County, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Two research scientists are charged with smuggling monkeypox into the U.S. The two work at a federal lab in Montana. They traveled from the Republic of Congo and allegedly lied to customs officers about what they were carrying. Investigators later found vials containing deactivated monkeypox and chickenpox viruses, along with human DNA. They now face up to 5 years in prison if convicted.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, an update to a story that was breaking news yesterday. Take a look at your screen. You can see Sky 5 was over the scene here on Summit Avenue where we're talking about. Just before we came on the air, Raleigh police releasing the name of the person who was shot on Summit Avenue in Raleigh. He's identified as 39-year-old Emmanuel Graham, who later died at the hospital. Now, police say Graham and the person responsible for the shooting were in a domestic relationship. An argument ensued. That person was also found in that area with some injuries as well. Now, the Raleigh police are telling us because of witness accounts and the evidence, the DA's office will not pursue criminal charges in this case.
The Carolina Hurricanes will be looking to bounce back tomorrow night in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Vegas Golden Knights beat the Canes 5-4 last night at Lenovo Center. But don't worry, the Canes are still very much still in the game. WRAL's Ali Kadlabar has fans' reactions.
Yeah, anyone wearing one of these jerseys was hoping for a better outcome. We all wanted to see that 13th warning flag up here at Lenovo Center this morning, but that wasn't the case. Now, less than 24 hours ago, fans stood right here in front of the stage, hoping that Game 1 would bring them one step closer to the Stanley Cup. The Canes had a great start in the first period. It was tied 3-3 in the second, but the Vegas Golden Knights rallied for a 5-4 victory for Game 1. Fans say it's too soon to lose hope.
It's early. We've got resilience, consistency. You know, it's 20 years in the making right now, and you know it's a moment that's going to happen.
The best of 7 series has only just begun. Fans tell us they are staying optimistic for Game 2. Yep, 20 years in the making, which means we still got to have patience and energy. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. It is tomorrow right here at Lenovo Center. It starts at 8 o'clock. Now, tickets go on sale today at 1:30 to watch the away game Saturday inside Lenovo Center. Those tickets are $10. Reporting at Lenovo Center, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
And our team coverage continues throughout the Stanley Cup Final. Game 2 is tomorrow night, as Ali just mentioned. Michelle McConaughey will lead that coverage live from Lenovo Center during our evening newscast.
As health officials continue to monitor people linked to a rare hantavirus outbreak, researchers at Duke are investigating how certain conditions contribute to the disease. Rodents are among the main species that can serve as reservoirs for the disease. Researchers at Duke Lemur Center found in a study that mostly black rats carry the virus. Black rats are primarily found in agricultural areas. Conservation Director James Herrera says environmental changes affect the spread of the disease.
In the more intensively human transformed landscapes, that's where you see much more of the black rats, and that's where you see much more of the disease prevalence. That means that restoring landscapes, bringing in more native species can actually reduce disease transmission.
Herrera says while the current outbreak remains rare, understanding how people, animals, and the environment interact could help scientists prevent the next one.
A major North Carolina data center bill is expected to come up for a vote in the House today. Supporters call it a balanced approach to managing rapid growth, but criticism is coming from both sides. WRAL climate change reporter Liz McLaughlin is live at the state legislature right now. Liz.
Certainly a hot topic. This has been absolutely packed. Committee hearings all day yesterday with advocates and lobbyists. There seems to be a consensus that there should be some guardrails around this data center growth, but the debate really centers around how far those rules should go. Some of the main provisions backers say is a balanced approach, is what they're calling it, would put more of the cost on data centers for the electricity and grid upgrades needed to support them. It would also require them to have what's called a closed loop system system that uses recycled water, so a little less demand on fresh water. But advocates yesterday, representatives of data centers, said that those restrictions could push them to other states.
We have concerns about 3 provisions: mandates on specific cooling technologies, prescriptive requirements for utility service contracts that are already under review by the North Carolina Utilities Commission, and restrictions on economic development tools that could reduce North Carolina's competitiveness.
Criticism came from the other side, too. Some saying that these rules do not go far enough. Some environmental advocates still expressing concerns that these should be stricter. Some even calling for a statewide moratorium on data centers altogether. One other provision centers around nuclear, the requirement that regulators see approval of nuclear plants before other power plants are retired, which did raise some concern about keeping fossil fuel plants online longer. Live in Raleigh, I'm Liz McLaughlin, WRAL News.
Liz, thank you. Coming up next at noon now, the show must go on. The White House Correspondents' Dinner is back on after it was cut short when a gunman ran through a security checkpoint. Well, organizers say they will not allow violence to have the last word.
And another one bites the dust. Yet another North Carolina oceanfront home collapses in the Atlantic. How many homes have crashed and the environmental concerns just ahead.
Plus, massive typhoon, a severe tropical storm in Japan, is wreaking havoc across the region. We have a look at the damage as tens of thousands of people remain without power.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Just over a month since the White House Correspondents' Dinner came to an abrupt halt, the event has been rescheduled. That event will now take place on July 24th. President Trump says that he will attend the rescheduled event, and planners say the dinner will feature significantly enhanced safety measures and new procedures that will be shared with attendees. This year's dinner was interrupted on April 25th, as you may recall, when a man allegedly passed by security with firearms. Investigators say that he shot a Secret Service agent before he was taken into custody. Well, generations of fans are remembering two-time Grammy Award-winning R&B artist Peabo Bryson. A representative says that the singer suffered a stroke and died yesterday, surrounded by the love of his family and those closest to him. Many may remember his work for hit Disney songs Beauty and the Beast and A Whole New World from Aladdin. Across his music career, he released some of 20 albums with songs including Can You Stop the Rain and Tonight I Celebrate My Love with Roberta Flack. Bryson is survived by his wife, 2 children, and 3 grandchildren. Bryson was 75.
He had such a smooth voice on those iconic songs. One of the oceanfront homes we've been showing you from Buxton collapsed into the Atlantic overnight. The blue house seen in this video fell despite efforts by Dare County to buy the property before that happened. And this is video of the home before the collapse. County leaders have been trying to acquire that house because it sat in the planned path of a new dune line tied to a major beach nourishment project expected to begin this month. Crews plan to pump about 2 million cubic yards of sand onto roughly 3 miles of shoreline in an effort to buy time for that vulnerable stretch of coast. The collapse marks the 20th oceanfront home to fall into the ocean in Buxton since September of 2025. Collapsed homes create major environmental concerns. It sends debris into the surf and triggers costly cleanup efforts up and down the coast. Crews in Japan are clearing debris after a typhoon made landfall in the western part of the country. The typhoon slammed Japan, knocking out power to more than 60,000 homes and bringing dangerous flooding and landslide risks. Floodwaters trapped a woman inside her car briefly before she was able to escape. Waves of mud and debris surged down a slope, slammed into a home below the crossing, and the mud reportedly pouring into the house itself. So far, there are no reports of death or injuries.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center. We're just getting word from Chapel Hill Carrboro Schools that Norris Grove Elementary School is dismissing early, actually within the next 15 minutes, around 12:30. School leaders say it's because of a tree down on Eubanks Road, closing that road in both directions. Now, parents are being asked to pick up their children. Also, staff will remain at school until an authorized adult picks up a child or until they're dropped off by a school bus. Also, after-school programs are canceled at the school today.
Okay, Ken, thank you for that update. 20 years ago, the Carolina Hurricanes won their first Stanley Cup. There was one challenge in the way, though, that wasn't on the ice. Meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us the tropical storm that moved through our area during Game 5 in today's Ask the Meteorologist.
It was mid-June 2006 when we were tracking Tropical Storm Alberto that started out between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba. It went through Florida's Panhandle and then raced through the Carolinas. And it definitely dealt a pretty punishing blow in terms of the rain totals, especially around the Triangle, where we had some totals between 5 and 7 inches. The National Weather Service in Raleigh reported 7 inches of rain in one day, and at RDU was the 4th wettest day on record. It also just so happened to fall on the day that we had Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final back in 2006. Now, the weather for Games 1 and 2 was just fine. Those were victories. In fact, the day that we had Tropical Storm Alberto, that was the only home game that we lost against Edmonton in the finals. Of course, we would go on to win 3-1 in Game 7. But here's a little bit of a sign of hope. The forecast for tomorrow's Game 2 is very similar to the weather we had during Game 2 of 2006. Could that result in a 5-0 win like it did 20 years ago? We could certainly hope as we gear up for the second game of the Stanley Cup Final tomorrow evening.
Thanks to Chris for that. And the only Hurricanes that we support, of course, is the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's get right out to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on the beautiful WRAL weather patio. Elizabeth, where we do not have any severe weather in sight.
We do not. No, it is lovely out here, as a matter of fact. And I'm all for Chris's forecast of 5-0 for tomorrow night. Weather's going to be good. I was so honored to be able to be out there at noon yesterday watching them set everything up for the fans. You know, they have the concert. They're going to do that again and have the watch party and just so much fun stuff going on at the Lenovo Center. So that will be a repeat tomorrow. The weather is almost a repeat. Yesterday, temperatures were in the upper 70s, and for tomorrow, it's going to be upper 80s. But we'll continue to have this comfortable breeze, and our humidity stays nice and low. You can see there, WRAL Gardens, 78 degrees is our temperature. That's as hot as it got yesterday. But our dew point's way down at 40, which is just highly unusual for us. We set a record low this morning of 48 degrees. The previous record was 49, set back in 1956. And so it was a cool morning. The coolest June morning on record was 38 on the 8th of June, but we weren't that close to that, but still refreshingly cool this morning for sure. It's 78 in Durham, 79 in Apex, 77 in Garner and in Clayton and around town. We're looking at mid 80s, so that's going to put us, 5, 6, 7 degrees warmer than yesterday, but we're going to hold tight with our dew point and keep things feeling very comfortable in terms of humidity. Bulls game, we got to have a little break, so, hockey, Bulls, hockey. So for the Bulls game tonight, it's just going to feel great. 6 o'clock, 80 degrees, and at 8 o'clock, 76. Lots of sunshine, low humidity, feeling fantastic. Why are we seeing all this low humidity? We'll see that high pressure system sitting there just south of the Great Lakes, rotating clockwise. That high pressure system is dragging in some of that nice, cool, dry air from Canada. But you can see the green shaded area there across the Mississippi and to the west. By Saturday, that high is going to start to drag some of that up, and you can see how that relates on the muggy meter. So we're feeling great right now. But by Saturday and Sunday, we get to tolerable and then steamy. Right now, you can see our temperature anomaly. We're looking at blue shaded areas. That's temperatures below normal. But starting tomorrow, and especially Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're well above normal. I mean, this is a solid summer forecast, Friday through Sunday, and by Sunday, that humidity is way up there. Looking ahead, 6 to 10 days out, we're right on the line of either normal or just a little above normal. We do have a nice drop in our temperature for early next week. Our next cold front comes in on Monday. Coming up in a few minutes, I'll talk more about how much rain we could see out of this next weather maker.
Okay, Elizabeth, thanks so much. We have more news ahead now. No bond. New at 4, a father accused in the death of his 9-week-old daughter faced a judge. What happened in court this morning and what investigators say led to the murder charge.
Still no relief. A week after a water outage left residents scrambling, some people say the problems aren't over. New at 5, what's happening now and what town leaders are saying about it. Along with everything else, the price we pay for car insurance keeps going up. Even if you're a good driver, you're probably paying a few $100s more now compared to recent years. 5 on your side's Ashley Rowe shares 8 ways to lower your premiums and save money.
The average driver now pays nearly $2,700 a year for car insurance. Here are several steps you can take to get that number lower. Talk with an independent agent. This will make it easier to compare coverage and premiums from several different insurance companies. Consider increasing your deductible. This saves you cash because you're bumping up your out-of-pocket cost for repairs. Just make sure you can cover it. Drop collision and comprehensive. Collision covers damage if you're in a hit and run, and comprehensive covers storm, theft, and fire. As years and miles pile up, the lowered value on your ride might not be worth the expenses.
As a general rule, if your premium is more than 10% what your car is worth, then you should consider dropping collision and maybe even comprehensive too.
Bundle up and save. Most companies offer discounts on annual premiums when you purchase both your home and auto policies from them. Take a defensive driving course. To keep the discount, you'll probably have to take it again in a few years. Sign up for driving monitoring. Some insurance companies offer a discount if you let them monitor your good driving habits. Finally, pay out of pocket when it makes sense, like for one of those car fender benders. Life changes also impact how much you pay. If you've gotten married, divorced, or had a death in your family, make sure your policy is updated. And if you no longer have a teen driver, you could save up to $2,000 a year. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
If you travel to Europe, you may not realize that you could be getting money back on any souvenirs or other goods that you buy during your travels. Europe's value-added tax, or VAT, is a consumption tax added to purchases. So for people outside the European Union, some of that money may be refundable. Here's how it works. Most luxury retailers will offer VAT paperwork once you reach a minimum spending threshold, which varies by country. Fill out the form and keep your receipts. Then, when you're leaving Europe, you may need to show the paperwork, your passport, and the actual items that you purchased at customs or a VAT refund counter. If possible, pack those purchases in your carry-on. You can get paid immediately at the VAT counter or send your approved form to the retailer's refund company within 3 months of purchase.
Google is rolling out a new tool to help protect customers against AI deepfake impersonation scams. The tool works on Android phones. Google says the new tool works like a digital handshake between devices. When a contact calls and you're both using Phone by Google, their device sends a silent confirmation signal to verify the call is real and actually coming from their phone. If it's a scammer, you'll get a warning on your screen to hang up immediately. Well, all you singles out there, listen up. Hinge is introducing a new system to make it easier to determine if someone you match with is really looking for a relationship. Hinge says that the new Signals program will help encourage active engagement. In order to get approved for the new Purple Heart badge, users must exhibit at least 3 of Hinge's 5, quote, good behaviors. Those include sending comments and messages, looking through profiles before liking and confirming dates. Best of all, users can't buy the badge. You have to do the work.
Still ahead at 12:30, your bill matters. A public hearing tonight could shape the future of electric rates across the state. What's being proposed and why not everyone is on board.
And hurricane home preps preparing for the worst before it happens, which you need to know as the Atlantic hurricane season gets underway. And here's a look at the winning lottery numbers this noon. We'll be right back.
Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Tonight, you can share your thoughts about a possible increase to your power bill. A public hearing originally scheduled for last month was postponed to today.
WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains what the potential hikes could be and why there is opposition.
Tonight, you can speak directly to state regulators about possible rate hikes here inside the Durham County Courthouse. Duke Energy is asking for approval to raise rates again. Your power bill could increase up to 18% over the next 2 years if this request is approved. That means the average customer would pay $34 more a month by 2028. Duke Energy says the increase is needed to pay for growth, which includes new residents and large energy users like data centers. The utility says it must invest more money on the front end to save money on the back end for customers. The North Carolina Environmental Justice Network is pushing back on that.
Economically, that doesn't really work because we also know that the dollar tomorrow is worth less than the dollar today. And we know that right now in North Carolina, every single family needs that money today. We are facing increased living costs. We're facing increased healthcare costs, increased food costs, increased gasoline costs.
This public hearing is scheduled to start tonight at 7 o'clock. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Durham.
Kelsey, thank you. Raleigh's affordable housing crisis will be the focus of a public forum tonight. Livable Raleigh is hosting the event at 7 p.m. at the Tarboro Road Community Center. Community leaders, housing advocates, and residents will talk about rising costs, rapid growth, and the pressure on local housing programs. The event is free and open to the public.
Dozens of North Carolina school districts say they plan to start next school year earlier than the state's calendar law calls for. This comes as the State Board of Education is preparing to hear a report on school start and end dates. State law requires most public schools to start no sooner than August 24th next year. Still, a new state report shows school boards are continuing to rebel unless they face a lawsuit. Some of those boards say that they want students to take first semester exams before winter break. They also want high schools to have the same calendars as the community college many of them take classes from. However, WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst says that the law is important for the tourism industry along the East Coast.
That's really where a lot of this comes from, is it has to do with concerns on the coast about having enough labor for those warmer months in August. So, if they're getting a lot of tourists, especially from other states, in those late August months, they want high schoolers to be able to continue to work at that time.
The State Board of Education is scheduled to hear the report on school start and end dates this afternoon.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, we've got some college football news to report now. I know many of you are ready for some football, but that game that was scheduled between NC State and Virginia that was supposed to be played in Brazil will now be moved back to the United States and played on Virginia's home field in Charlottesville. The change follows communication from Athlete Advantage, which informed the ACC and participating schools that the event could not be concluded or conducted. No reasons were listed in the statement. Now, originally scheduled to be played in week 0, the ACC, NC State, and Virginia, now working with the NCAA and its television partners to confirm the game will remain on the originally scheduled date of Saturday, August 29th. Of course, any new updates, we'll let you know here on WRAL.
Ken, thank you. Atlantic hurricane season is officially here. And while federal agencies do not expect this to be an intense season, any storm, it just takes one, can pose threats. To help protect your property, engineering experts urge people to take action now. Chris DeMeo takes a close look at the 2 key things homeowners can do to strengthen their defenses.
With Atlantic hurricane season now in session, folks across storm-prone states are advised to bolster their homes' protections before potential devastation barrels their way.
We've got some time.
Even though the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is predicting a below-normal season, engineers say the strength from just one hurricane can be life-changing and buildings may need reinforcement.
2 main things to focus on. One is the garage door and any other large openings, replacing that with a wind-rated, impact-rated garage door.
Researchers at Auburn University say failed garage doors can lead to 90% of major storm-related structural damage. But don't forget about the roof either.
And if you are going to replace a roof, no matter what type, what we recommend is what we call a secondary water barrier. So that's either a kind of a peel and stick underlayment, or where you tape the seams of the kind of wood sheathing, the decking, you tape those seams so that even if your shingles do blow off in a high wind event, that protects the water from getting inside the home.
Meanwhile, it's not just people living along the coasts who might benefit from making preparations, with hurricanes in the past having triggered tornadoes and flooding events across far inland communities. If you don't have time or resources to make large improvements, experts say there's other options.
Many people have either hurricane shutters, or it may just be plywood that they have to be able to put over the windows. That matters a lot. We see a big difference between homes, the performance of homes that have protected the openings and those that haven't.
And that was Krista Mayo reporting. The WRAL weather team predicted a below average number of systems this season, but they still urge you to be vigilant. Visit our storm section on WRAL.com. There you will find valuable information about making an emergency plan, compiling a survival kit, and why property owners should consider flood insurance.
The Carolina Hurricanes hope to rebound tomorrow night at Lenovo Center after dropping Game 1 to the Vegas Golden Knights. It was tied 3-3 in the second, but the Vegas Golden Knights rallied for a 5-4 victory for Game 1. Don't worry, the Canes are very much in the game. The team will host a watch party tomorrow. Tickets for the watch party are $10. The city of Raleigh is also hosting a watch party tomorrow at Moore Square. That starts at 7 p.m. And don't forget, our team coverage continues throughout the Stanley Cup Final. Game 2 is tomorrow night, and Michelle McConaughey will lead the coverage live from Lenovo during our evening newscast. Protect the Head, the game plan to raise awareness about concussions for athletes at the World Cup.
And a fun learning environment. How our Teacher of the Week creates one with encouragement, activities, and decor.
Sports fans are gearing up for the World.
Some schools are taking a hard look at the billions of dollars spent on technology in the classroom. This comes after the Surgeon General's office sounded the alarm on excessive screen time. Now, according to government data, 96% of U.S. public schools in the year 2021 to 22 issued digital devices to students during the COVID-19 pandemic. Numerous parents, teachers, and doctors now say it is time to cut back, and some school systems are listening with restrictions on devices in classrooms. Critics are pointing to the downside of tech on young people, such as anxiety, sleep disruption, and trouble concentrating.
So we've been using iPads and iPhones as digital pacifiers. They work very well. They prevent your child from learning how to function in the world. We've got to stop that. And so we have to, again, find ways to get them playing with other kids.
Supporters of technology in the classroom say it boosts engagement, personalizes learning, and prepares students for the future.
Our Teacher of the Week draws inspiration for decorating her classroom from the animated film and hit Broadway show, The Lion King. Ken Smith tells us after you meet her, you'll understand why she is known for her engaging classroom environment and decor at Lacey Elementary in Wake County.
Hello, please pay attention. I'm your teacher, time for action.
Sarah Young is all about creating a fun learning environment for her second grade students at Lacey Elementary in Wake County.
Everybody knows, like, Ms. Young's room is the jungle, so I'm going to go to the jungle today.
Her students, after all, are Lacey Lions, which is the school's mascot.
And it made me think about the Lion King.
Miss Young took that theme to a whole new level, turning her classroom into a jungle.
When I created this space, I wanted them to feel like I want to come to school every day. I want to feel loved. I want to feel happy. I want to feel bright and loved. And so every time somebody walks in here, those are the reactions that I get. They're just like, wow, I just feel so welcome. It feels so homey. It feels amazing.
Miss Young credits her mom, a retired teacher, for inspiring her to seek a career in education.
So they both have characters that don't want to do what?
With the jungle room as a backdrop, each day is an adventure that keeps her students engaged in learning and helps them build confidence.
I built this family-oriented relationship with them from the beginning, so every day it feels like they're not leaving home. They're coming here to school to be like, this is my home.
Miss Young, You are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Congratulations. Give her another big round of applause.
Oh, you gotta love it. So if you would like to nominate a teacher, you can go to WRAL.com and enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
Tell you what, I felt happy and bright watching that story, and you know what else can make you feel happy and bright? Today's weather. Elizabeth, just so nice for June. I mean, we don't get this kind of weather very often for June.
We don't. I mean, this feels like early spring. It feels like October. It just feels so wonderful outside. And the gardens behind me look gorgeous. You know, we've had, a little bit of rain in the last week or so, but we're, still needing some rain, that's for sure. 78 is our temperature. Our dew point is an incredible 40 right now. I mean, again, that's like a wintertime dew point where it's very dry out. It feels great. We don't really want it to be dry. We're in such need of rain. And you can see, of course, we have this big area of high pressure sitting near Chicago. High pressure systems rotate clockwise. So that high is just pushing this cool, dry air in. And we saw a very chilly temperature, a record low overnight last night. And that's because a couple things. Our air mass is really dry and our soil is really dry. So it's almost acting like a desert, really warm in the afternoon and then nice and cool overnight. And we'll see that again. We won't get quite down into the upper 40s, probably going to be low to mid 50s for tomorrow morning. Temperatures 84 in Raleigh for this afternoon. Tomorrow we're going to climb to nearly 90. Watch that high as it starts to slide southward and then eastward offshore. Then it begins to grab some of that moisture and some of that heat from down south. And so highs Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will all be in the mid 90s. The high will gradually move off and another front will take its place, and that will help to drop our temperatures and bring us a chance of some rain. So our next weather maker after this high moves out will be this cold front. The humidity increases with the high, and then the cold front drops in and helps to bring us a few scattered showers and thunderstorms. Behind the front, we cool off again. So this is a pattern that doesn't usually happen in the summer. This is a spring, fall, winter pattern where we have the cold fronts come through. In the summertime, it's usually just hot, humid. We may start to see the rain late Sunday, but mostly it will be on Monday. But take a look. It just doesn't look like a whole lot of rain, just like we've seen really for the last 6+ months. It's 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. It's really not going to help us a whole lot. Now, in the last 30 days, we've had several rain events, which has been wonderful, but most of that has been concentrated in the west or the southern part of North Carolina. So like Fayetteville's had 96% of normal rainfall in the last 30 days. But the Triangle area northward, only around 50%. And so that's going to keep us in the drought. Our southern counties came out of extreme drought, but from the Triangle area northward, we did not. Looking ahead to the hurricanes tomorrow, 89. And so it's going to be pretty toasty in the afternoon as people start to arrive. The gates will open at 4 o'clock for tailgating, the concert and the watch party. We're looking at temperatures, of course, dropping though pretty quickly into the evening. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are going to be the days that it just feels hot and humid. But again, we get a little bit of a break again into Monday and Tuesday. So part of the 7-day forecast definitely looking like summer, but it feels really enjoyable out here right now.
And looks beautiful. Elizabeth, thank you so much.
Looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. Still ahead, a star is born. One baby's grin stood out from the rest. Meet the newest Gerber baby and the family celebrating the big honor.
And here are your winning Mega Millions numbers: 15, 26, 43, 48, 60. The gold Mega Ball is 12. As we wrap things up here, let's take a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. A Harnett County animal shelter is facing nearly $20,000 in state fines over euthanization violations. The state says 42 dogs were euthanized using intracardiac injections with no documentation in at least 24 cases that the animals were unconscious. Investigators also say many of those dogs were not scanned for microchips. The shelter says that it has stopped performing euthanizations while staff undergo retraining.
A major North Carolina data center bill is expected to come up for a vote in the House today. The bill requires data centers to cover the cost of electricity, grid upgrades, and new power generation. It also imposes restrictions on water use, noise pollution, and land use. The House of Representatives plans to vote on the measure today, and if approved, it will move over to the Senate.
The Carolina Hurricanes hope to rebound tomorrow night at Lenovo Center after dropping Game 1 to the Vegas Golden Knights. It was tied 3-3 in the second, but the Vegas Golden Knights rallied for a 5-4 victory for Game 1. The team will host a watch party tomorrow. Tickets for the watch party are $10. The city of Raleigh is also hosting a watch party tomorrow at Moore Square. That starts at 7 p.m.
Okay, take a look at your screens. Look at this smiley guy. He is this year's Gerber baby. Gerber announced Cameron Chung as the winner of this year's Gerber Baby Photo Search. He lives in Minnesota with his mom and dad. His mom says he was a colicky newborn, making those early months so tough, but that when Cameron's first smile shone through, it erased all the tough times. He is now a cheerful, just snuggly baby. Cameron is now approaching his first birthday.
He is so adorable. Oh my goodness, no wonder the Gerber baby chosen. So cute. Well, something else that's cute here, our pet of the day comes to us from Cat Angels Pet Adoptions. Meet Kaweebie. This spunky one-year-old Torby has a big personality and an endless sense of adventure. You can often find her snoozing in the silliest positions, showing off her skills, or probably carrying her favorite toys around her mouth and in her mouth. Kaweebie is not a fan of being picked up, but is happy to curl up in your lap for a nap. She travels well in carriers and cars, though she'd prefer to skip the vet visits altogether. Kaweebie is looking for a home where she can be the star of the show. You can contact Cat Angels NC if you would like to meet her.
Today at 4, Hockey Town. The Canes are in the Stanley Cup final, but some fans are asking a simple question. Why are there not more signs of support across Raleigh, and where you will find them? NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Thanks so much.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1250.